Heaven-O. Today is July 10th, 2023 at 2:40 p.m. I am going to briefly discuss the artistic adventure I am calling Talking with the Child Within. So this process is very profound and exciting. It's a very incredibly empowering. All that I do is I talk to the child within me as I am today, like this part of me, this older part of me as I am today, you know, being the age that I am, and I talk to the younger parts of me as though I am I'm teaching, I'm sharing. And so the way that I have done this, you know, just in my mind throughout time. But the thing that I've been doing recently, just rather recently, I have my little keyboard and then my smartphone, and then I go on to the Word app and have a dialogue with myself. So I'll have the title, you know, just kind of like a script, only it's not scripted. It's a continuous conversation. Younger me, older me, younger me, older me. And so as the younger parts of me that have questions and concerns, that actually, as I am today, often come up throughout my day. A lot of fears, a lot of doubts, a lot of questions about how things are, about God's Word and whatnot. The approach that I have found, this approach of typing, and then going along and typing my conversation, changes something for me. It makes things more real, in a sense. It's so much more tangible because I'm actually exerting this up here, and then having it to where I can see it. See the conversation, and then rereading the conversation. It gives me some great insight into myself, and is helping me connect to myself, the younger parts of me with today. I've only been doing it. I just started, I think, last week or the week before that, and I've only had a few conversations, but my conversations will be quite lengthy, and because I think there's been times when in my life where another person would have questions or concerns that I could actually address, that I did address with a lot of confidence, a lot of knowing, if I knew what I was talking about, of course. Such as somebody who has anxiety, you know, I was able to talk somebody through anxiety, of how to deal with it, coping skills, and breathing, and whatnot. I knew very well what it's like. I've been there. I know how to talk somebody else through, because that person's outside. I'm not experiencing it. When you're actually immersed in the midst of anxiety, it's very difficult to go through it if you don't really know what's going on. One, two, if you don't have any coping skills. So a lot of times I have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns and a lot of fears, and I'm just like, God, you know, help me through this, help me understand this, and He does, you know. One of the ideas is kind of annoying. It's not like I hear His voice saying, "Danae, do this." That's not what happens. It's just kind of like an idea comes to my mind, and one of the things was like, let's have a conversation with yourself. Have a conversation with the younger part of yourself, and type them out. I tend to think a lot faster and a lot clearer when I'm typing for some reason. And when I write, I can do, but it's not the same thing. I do know that both processes would work, but I prefer typing. So the idea of me talking to myself as though I was talking to somebody else outside of myself, there is a large degree of confidence, and like, okay, well, I know, be like, okay, like, so for instance, the younger parts of me say, well, and this is a conversation that I've had. I won't be able to reiterate everything that I type, but I can just kind of give an example of how this happens. Um, uh, if I had a printer, I would print things out and read it to you, but I don't have one right now. As the younger partners here, didn't they say, well, why are people evil? Why are people evil? Why are people mean? Why? Well, Danae, there's people who don't who choose evil, and I'd say, well, what does God's word say? And be like, let's see what God's word says, and then we're gonna go from there. And like, well, why do we have to go to God's word? let's read His word and see what He says, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Okay. So in 1 John, or in John 3:19, it says. This is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their deeds were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light, and does not come to the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed. Say, well, what does that mean? Well, it is a very difficult concept, but it's not that difficult when you really know God. I mean, do you know God, Danae? Yes. So I would say, like nod head, and like, I would type all these things out, these gestures and little funny little parts that I am. Yeah. And so I would, then explain, what it is that God's word says, like, Danae, and it's a different demeanor, like it's just like, well, why? Well, let me tell you. And God, some people don't choose God. Some people do not want Him. And God is light. And God is pure. And God is He's very revealing. Some people do not want that, and when they do not choose God, when they choose to go against Him, well, they become like the devil. They become like him. They're not him, but they become like him. And so, I would just kind of talk through that. And the difference here is that I'm speaking with a lot of confidence and a lot of authority. As when I'm walking out in the day, there's this is a really big issue for me. It really has been. You say, well, Danae, you're how old and you should know this. It's a lot of this is because of how I was split open. Through the MDMR process, the Indian diaphragm, it split me up in it, and so I've had to kind of like go through this process of rehabilitating and reconnecting to myself, and God's been putting me back together, but in a whole different way, whole new way. So, with that being said, throughout my days, I'm just like, well, I'm scared. I don't like it when people are mean. I don't like it. And that's the child part of me. And so, but I also know as an older person that I had these answers. It's just been it's just part of this has been my process, my adventure of knowing who I am in God. So this just talking to the child within me through a written dialogue is helping profoundly, progressing. I've only done it a few times, like I've said. I think I've said it. And it's me, it's the older part of me teaching the younger part of me what I know. And then when I don't know something, it actually helps me say, okay, well, let's find out. Let's find the answer. let's talk things through together. And then I'll go through memories. I'll talk through memories. I'll talk about things I sense, the younger part of me. Things come up that I hadn't thought about for a long time. I didn't even know I have those memories. So, things are really surfacing. And because of this, because I am, rather than my child part of me trying to figure everything out, the older part of me is teaching the younger part of me so that we grow into God. And then God's, and of course this is all because of God. It's this idea is because, God says, let's do this. Oh, okay. And then so it's like, God, teaching both of us, at the same time, all of us. I mean, it's just me. It's just a name, but I'm using this language so that I can differentiate between the older part of me and the younger part of me. It's not really a we, it's I. It's just part of this adventure, of discussing it that way, with those words. So, that briefly explains it. So as I continue to go through this process, it's going to be a lot of progress has already occurred. A lot of progress. I'm going to stop there. I think that it kind of describes what the process is. Let's see. Let's go. I said a little bit, and let's see. Let's just to kind of reiterate what I was saying. All I do is talking to the inner part of me, the inner part of myself, the child part of myself, of all ages. I don't really say, age. I don't know. I might try that, Danae, age 10. I might try that and see what happens. But I haven't done that just yet. I just kind of talk to the young part of me with the questions that I have. The older part of me typing out my responses. I even have questions from her, for the younger part of me. Using, and then using God's Word to move us through. And all through a written dialogue. That's it. Okay. The artistic, again, to say the title, the artistic adventure of speaking to the child within. Writing with the child within. The child within talking out loud. I hope you have a beautiful day.